Hey, Jana.
Hi, how are you, Milan?
Good, 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 good. Excited to be speaking again on another subject. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've had a lot of people, uh, comment and have a lot of concerns about where they are in life as far as a career is concerned, and if they're happy, not happy, and is it really possible and plausible to be able to change careers midlife? And of course, there's a lot of people that have anxiety about doing that. I'm one of those people that's changed so many careers or different interests, and I get bored very easily. So I go and I just have no fear, so I jump into things with both feet. So, but that's just me. And there's a lot of people that are very hesitant and have to analyze everything a million times before making, and then because they have this background of maybe what their schooling might have been, what their background is, they find it almost impossible to switch careers. And it's really not that accepted in society. It's like everyone identifies you with a certain title, and God forbid if you were to change that title. I've had people come up to me and actually say, can why do you switch so many times? And I kind of want to say, because this is me and this is my life and I do as I please. But again, that's just I'm very comfortable saying things like that, but not everybody is. So have you had people come to you and say things like that?
Yeah. It's kind of like some people are doing it because no choice in life, and they had to do it just because they saw there's a like sort of a cap, and you need more maybe financial support, and then you're just switching it. Or there's a different reason, such as like myself, where my life circumstances
Mhm.
um, that actually made me came like we talked about it at the previous sessions, where we talk about timing, right? The right timing. So
Right.
my life, my timing came when my career switched because of losing my mom and going through certain crises internally. I have changed my career, being, let's say, 20 years in the banking system and know everything from A to Z, and now going into kind of completing my mission and helping people in the different areas. um, I relate like to different type of people. Like for yourself, like we know that you are much like a
More-
little butterfly, like a little butterfly, basically. This flower is kind of like lost its all beauty, then you go to the next one.
yeah.
I am much more like a little bit like a little of a, I don't know, maybe you can consider two different animal. It takes me time. It took me like, mentally it took me 2 years,
Hmm.
yeah, to be able to switch. Mentally means like just to say, okay, I'm doing it.
Hmm.
And then it took me another year. So basically 3 to 4 years probably to switch it, just because I don't know, the type of people that you are and I am,
Right.
we do differently. And you take it much lighter, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm learning, I'm telling you this little mechanism. It's like, hey, it's okay, we're able to do this. Yes, it will take time and so on and so forth. But I think that people, for whatever reason in life
Hmm.
you have, why you changing career, or maybe you're doing two parallels too sometimes, before you switch. I think it's maybe a smart too, so you don't lose kind of like an income
Right.
source.
Uh-huh.
But I totally understand how it's done. I mean, I read about a woman that at age 54
Hmm.
literally went into schooling for 2 years, finished it up, got her bachelorette, and then she actually become from financial. She was like a CFO of a huge corporation, and then she become a life coach,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Yeah.
professional and stuff.
Hmm.
So I take this, whatever you want in life, because we only have one life. Don't you agree?
Yes. Well,
And then Well, yeah, most of us.
Yeah.
Most of it. I know we meet somewhere down up there too at some point, but we just haven't checked that place yet.
Let's not go there. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't checked that. Here, we only have one life to live.
Right.
I sound like a soap opera, but I always say that it's really cool the fact that you actually, the way that you are able to do things,
Mm-hmm.
and how fast you switch from this to this to this.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. There's no right or wrong to it. Do you agree?
Of course, there's no right or wrong. It's just people's comfort level and what they're, comfortable doing at a certain point in life, what makes sense, of course. And, I do think that you have to be ready. So to do things. And my personal ideology is that we have to decide our careers at such a young age in our lives, like, deciding to go to college and picking a career and all that in our 20s. In our 20s, when we get to where we are, like in our late 40s, well, not to give age away, but much older.
Okay, with our age, it's
not
fine.
that it matters. I'm totally good with it. But, it's you've changed so much and you've grown and evolved as a human so much. It's like, who was I at that time? How did I know what I wanted to do the rest of my life? So, and people invest so much into that personality that they create while they're in school, and this title that they acquire and then get the job, and then they feel stuck because they've invested so much time, energy, and money into that, exactly. So they feel like, okay, this is what I picked, so I'm stuck here, whether it was the right decision, whether it was influenced by parents, that in my culture, that happens a lot. I'm Armenian, and Armenian parents kind of take pride in what their children become, because then they become the pride and joy of, oh, look at my kid that goes to this school and got this title, and is either a doctor or a lawyer, because then then they become a valid individual in society. God forbid if they don't have some kind of title,
Oh,
and
yeah,
which is really, I think it takes power away from the individual, that they become identified as a certain title, because then who are you? God forbid you lose that title. That's how people lose themselves. And then they get to midlife, and then they have a midlife crisis because they don't know who they are internally anymore. They've identified themselves with a title, or they validate themselves based on what other people think about them. And that's the thing that I want people to understand, is that you don't need to lose yourself just because you want to change a career, or you want to lose that title that you have. You have to, it's self-empowerment, and not having fear. And for me, it's a quick, jump into another thing. But for others, even if it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, you have to, it's getting ready to get ready to make that change, but never feeling like you're stuck. Because when you feel like you're stuck somewhere that you're not happy, that's the reason people develop anxiety. That's the reason people develop depression, and then their immune system doesn't function as properly. And because their genes are downregulated, which causes them. Anyway, that's a different thing. Their immune system does not work properly, so they develop illness and disease and all that. And then that's why midlife is such a difficult phase for people to get over that hump. And but a lot of successful people, even these big companies, they all started like after age 50. That's kind of like when you kind of become a little more grounded, a little more assured, a little more confident, a little more have a better understanding of your strengths, your values, your passion, what you really want to do. How do you want to contribute to society, to humanity? Because that's ultimately what determines success, right? Finding a purpose, finding a career where you're contributing to society. And so that's, to me, that's fulfillment. That's and I think so that's my take on it, is to lose the fear and know that, of course, fear will always be there, but to be able to overcome it by knowing what you're finding, your purpose, finding your passion. So,
that's exactly what it is. Because you gotta have to get up in the morning every morning and feel great about yourself and what you do. Mm-hmm. Because once you're right. Majority of different cultures have a different ways of handling when the child needs to choose their career. Some of them think that they own this matter, and some of them think that no, I need to make sure that I'm just supporting my child, and my child can actually be happy and do what they love to do or like to do or good at or whatever might that be. And then it basically it goes hand to hand with the fact that if you love what you do, you will never be bad at it. And then that comes, it's kind of like a little chain reaction. Then you're making your financial stability, and then you're making and you're don't go into depression and stuff, like for example, for me, for the past 2 years, ever since I realized that something is happening with the banking system, it was hell for me. It was really bad. I one day I walked out from my branch for a lunch, and I realized that I'm feeling like I'm in a bubble. Like, how you see in the movies or like a commercial of one of those medication that you feel depressed and then you take a medication and then depression is gone for 2 seconds. I kind of felt it. It was one day where I was in the bubble, and that bubble basically was like a black and white inside. And then outside, I was looking at people. Oh my God, they're sitting and having a coffee, lunch in the middle of the day, and I can't do stuff like that. And they're doing things and blah, blah, blah. And I realized that, oh my God, does it like depression is knocking on my door? And I'm like, hell no, hell. And then this is where I basically says, you know what, let's see where I'm standing financially. Let's see how long can I actually be able to live on my savings and stuff like that till I actually switch the gears and so on and so forth. But I think it's a tremendous I think people are whoever, listen, if you choose your career from get-go and you're on to the, whenever you're ready to stop, that's just like, wow, I thought I would have that too.
Right.
But if you have to switch or you want to switch or you changed and you feel like this is that goes with your changes, right? The new career, the new mission, then just go with it. Like you have to. You really have to. I did it, and I'm super happy. It's not easy. I was W-2 all my life, and now I'm 1099. And guess what? When they say, when they say that you have to, in order for you to start any kind of successes, you really need to switch the mind from W-2 to 1099. For me, first, it was like, I have no idea. It's very foreign language for me. But now, little by little, it's like everything in life.
Right.
You realize this and you realize this and you try this and you realize and then you make those little steps, and guess what?
Someone else, you're a totally new person. And I think
that's a year. It's going to be 1 year in May when I actually switched my career. So I'm happy. I look good. I'm not depressed and stuff.
Yeah,
thank you. So there are, what's it called? There's a life on the other side of, there's expression.
Or life on the other side of the rainbow?
Something like that. So so it's totally, so if you have to do it, do it. If you want to do it, do it. If it's a life-changing opportunity, changes you. But you know what? Remember we talked about the fact that you kind of losing some people down the line with like a friends?
Yeah.
I think it goes with that really too, because if you are constantly upgrading yourself or developing yourself or learning something new, and you're not stuck in something and you're not being lazy, right? Your mind is developing too. So that goes hand to hand with the fact that some people will be stuck in whatever it is that they want to be stuck, and they don't want to continue moving anywhere. But if you're moving on, and they're not able to catch up to you, you mature to a certain level, and they're like behind. So
and it's kind of like, okay, I respect you, but gotta do what I gotta do and move along.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think what I was gonna say for me is it helped me develop so much confidence in my abilities, to be able to like have a goal and, after a certain period of time, accomplish that goal and then set new goals for myself, like maybe 6 months down the line. And then as I look, I do it on my vision board. And as I look at my vision board, I go, check mark, that's done, So for me, that's like the biggest like woohoo moment, and it's not just that, but it's like the journey that gets to that too, that's like fulfilling for me. And it just, it gives me so much. I'm such a different person than I was in my 30s and my 40s. Now I feel like I can take on anything pretty much, and it's like, and I think what I want to tell people is that, at the end of your life, you want to look back and say, I did everything I wanted to do. I don't have any regrets, because I talk to people that are, attorneys, and I have a lot of attorney, friends, and my ex-husband was an attorney, so is an attorney. But just, sometimes they're just not happy, maybe being in a certain, because it wasn't who they thought that they would be. But the thing that they tell me is like, it's too late for me. I'm like, what? Like, when I hear that, it breaks my heart so much, because I feel like it's never too late. Because for me, it's like, until my last breath, I will learn, I will grow, and I will evolve, because I don't believe that it's too late to do anything at any time in your life. And I think the only people that puts any kind of limits on us is ourselves. We're the ones that limit based on these things that we've been taught in society. Like, you can't because you're too old, you're not smart enough, you're not, you need to know people, you need to have connections, or whatever, the reasoning might be, which is the biggest BS. I mean, when I started buying properties and renovating and selling them, it's a male dominated industry. So the feedback I got from people was like, oh, you're never going to find properties at a good price, because there's so much competition out there, and there's people that have been doing it for years. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. And it literally took me like maybe 2 months to find like a really good deal and I beat like 20 other people that were bidding for that property. Yeah. So it was like, hey, I did it, and I'm, so it's not actually what you do, but the process of doing it that gives you that fulfillment as a, as a human, as a, individual that's living this life, because at the end of the day, it's who you're becoming. It's not what you've accomplished. It's who you are in the process of accomplishing things, your goals, right? So,
but fear.
And it's like, that's the most important thing, is when you look back and you look at the past, you go, am I proud of myself? Am I proud of the things that I've been able to accomplish? My fears, have I been able to overcome my fears and live a life that I can be proud of, So
fear is the biggest enemy that we have, as far as I know. Fear is fear of unknown, fear of ability to, am I going to be able to? I'm not as young chicken as I used to be, and then the energy level and blah 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 blah. The fear that goes into different categories is the biggest stopping point for a lot of people, and obviously financial too. Some people are not as fortunate to be able to live on their savings while they're doing whatever needs to be done. So I get it, but I just say that, it's something that if you don't do it, you will make a much bigger damage on yourself.
Exactly.
If you don't do it. So it is a fear to do the stuff, to say the word, but
I love your accent, by the way. I love your accent.
Oh, thank you very much. I try. I'll be a little.
Don't try to kill it.
Don't. But I'm just saying to you that this fear thing is stopping a lot of people these days. This fear is, and I get it. I've gone through this. I know exactly what it looks like and exactly what it tastes like. I get it. But I just tell people that, listen, you just need to realize it. I always look at the bigger picture. There's always now and there's always later. If you look at the bigger picture, when the later will be included into this, guess what? You're going to be miserable. It's like staying in the marriage that you just have to stay in for wrong reasons. At the end, after 30 years of marriage or whatever, 25 years of marriage or whatever, people like going, they're divorcing anyway. So, but they're already in that age. So it's kind of like that. It's still going to hit you at some point. So take a control of the situation yourself while you can, instead of life your life will take a control over you. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
That does.
Because I've gone through all this, and I did so much analysis, and I read so many different things, and I analyzed so many different people, and I'm just telling you that it is scary. I promise it's scary, but the better is waiting for you out there. once you're done with it. So I think that I think it needs to happen, and to each its own, but it needs to happen.
I mean, there's so much more that can be discussed, but obviously we can't get into all of that right now. But I mean, you know, with the subconscious mind and the programming and all that, but that's a totally different segment. But the one thing that I want to finish off with is that I see fear as like two ends of a stick, like fear on this side, and it's self-love, self-worth on the other side, because and which one do you want to feed more? Because the more you value yourself, the more you love yourself, the more wordiness you have for yourself, and this is going to become less and less, and you're going to feel much more capable and you know, to be able to do the things that you want to do. So just know which side you're feeding, which end of the stick you're feeding with your thoughts and your emotions.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so and there's so many tools to be able to overcome the fear, and you know, like always, you can always reach out to us, either one of us, and we'll be more than willing to help. So I think that's pretty much wrapping it up for today on that subject. But like I said, you know, if people have suggestions, please feel free to comment and let us know what other subjects we can discuss. And you know, if there's anything specific we talked about today that they would want more clarification on, we'd be more than happy to do that. So please do leave comments. Please like if you enjoyed this video. And that's it. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, Buba.
Bye.